Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday Night Reading Sprints, and you will notice that I am joined by two guests today. So I've got two lovely authors whose books I love very, very much, both of whom have books coming out soon. So I'll start with introductions and then I'll let you tell us a little bit about your books, and then if anybody is in the comments, I will see what they've got to say as well. So can you start off, Alex? Can you tell us a little bit about your books and which book it is that's coming out very, very soon?
Yeah, of course. Hi everyone, my name's Alex Foulkes. I'm a middle grade author from Stoke-on-Trent here in the UK. My book is Rules for Vampires, so that is this one. Ta-da! That came out last year, and then coming up on the 29th of September, we have the new one, which is Rules for Vampires, Ghosts Bite Back. So today I'm going to be enjoying my first ever reading sprint and getting to know Amy and Aislinn, and I'm going to be writing some vampires as we go as well, so I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming, and thank you for that lovely introduction of your books. They are so good. I say they are so good. The book I've read is so good, and I'm really excited about the new one that's coming out late next month, isn't it? In September.
Yes, 29th.
So, Aislinn, do you want to tell us a little bit about your book? Yours is October, isn't it?
It is. It's the start of October. It's Big Bad Me, and it is a werewolf vampire story about a girl called Evie who doesn't know she's a werewolf, and her big sister Kate, who has spent her entire life trying to cover up the fact that Evie wolfs out in the middle of the night and starts attacking people and destroying things. And their mom goes missing, and they have to go to another town called Brightside, where there's creepy murders happening and weird animal attacks, and they're basically faced off with a supernatural showdown. I don't have the finished book yet, but I have an arc, which I love. I love the pink on it. And today I'm going to be doing a bit of reading because I'm working at the moment on a ghost story, and I've just gotten my hands on this, The Haunting of Terry Cooper, which I've started, and I'm absolutely loving. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading on that.
Oh, that sounds good use of your time. I didn't really think about the fact that when I invited you, I just thought you'd both be really fun people to talk to and do a sprint with, but I realised we're all kind of into our creatures, aren't we? What do you think it was, Aislinn, that, because obviously you have werewolves, but also vampires in yours. What was it that made you want to write about creatures?
I've been a huge fan of all sorts of monsters my whole life. So, I was watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but before that, I used to read the fairy tales with the big bad wolf and the wicked witch. And I get really, really scared then, throw the books down the stairs so that my parents would have to, if the monsters came out of the books, my parents would have to deal with them. But I would still bring the books upstairs and read them. So I've always liked a good scare. And, I've always scared myself silly. So when I was about 16, I actually watched far too many episodes of Buffy in one go while I had the flu. And it was all Oz heavy. And I went to bed and I had a dream that night that I was a werewolf and I had to leave because I couldn't control myself anymore. And my whole family had known. So that story was playing in the back of my mind for a really long time. And when I moved to Canada, I was a bit homesick and I decided I was going to write something. So I sat down and I started writing this werewolf story about, the little were-girl having to leave her family because it felt appropriate. So that's what drew me to it. But I just love spooky things. And I think in a way, it makes me feel like, it reminds me of my family because my very first thing was being scared and wanting my parents to look after me.
Oh, cool. So spooky things remind you of home. That's nice.
Yeah, scary things remind me of the Adams family, like my family.
Well, I'll just pause in our chat for a second to say that I'm noticing people starting to pop up. So if you want to tell us what you're planning to do in the sprints, chat to us about spooky things, ask us anything to do with our books or to do with monsters and creatures, feel free to use the comments however you want. And now we'll go to Alex. Can you tell us what got you into writing about monsters if you see them that way? Because I know that you have ghosts and vampires in yours. So I've gone just vampires. You've gone for ghosts and vampires. Then we've got werewolves and vampires in the mix as well. So what was it about writing creatures that appealed to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know whether I would ever rule out a vampire, a werewolf in the world of Rules for Vampires. See, I'm just so set on vampires. I just go straight to the vampires every time. I think I've just kind of always been like really, really drawn to those super, super iconic, monstrous figures, you know, in horror media. I think there's just something very, very mysterious about the vampire in particular. And actually, we did talk, didn't we, Amy, in our interview about how basically, to my mind, the vampire is your perfect monster, because it's the perfect balance between being really cool and having lots of cool strengths and powers, but also having kind of interesting weaknesses as well that I think it's fun to play on. So when your hero is this sort of creature, probably much like in Aislinn's book, you know, thinking about the downsides that come along with being this kind of monster, as well as, you know, the kind of the cool things that you can do and the things that you have to get used to. It's just, I think it's always been appealing to me as I was growing up, you know, thinking about when you are sort of becoming a teenager and maybe feeling a little bit monstrous yourself, maybe feeling a little bit every now and again like you'd love to sink your teeth into someone's neck. I think maybe that's always been in me. Much like vampires kind of comes back into fashion every now and again. It's sort of been the kind of thing that I keep coming back to, and thus I thought, you know, let's not fight it anymore. Let's lean into it and give it a go.
It's funny, I get asked a lot about. Sorry, I was just going to say I get asked a lot about that. Like, you know, are you glad that vampires are back in fashion? I was like, what do you mean back in fashion? I feel like I've been into vampires since I was like 10 or 11, and I discovered. Obviously, I kind of knew what vampires were, but I think it was probably like 10, 11, 12. It kind of really hit me. And in my mid-ish 30s, I haven't let go of it. So I think we will head to a sprint. I think there's just a couple of comments. So I'll just pull up one of them now. So Stephen is in the comments just saying that he's looking forward to it. So I think we'll go to the sprints. We'll let a few more comments build up. I think we're going to do 40-minute sprints. And then Alex and Aislinn, you can, you know, do as much or as little as you'd like. I'm going to probably do at least 2 lots of 40 minutes, may do a third one as well. I'm usually tired by the last one, so that's sometimes a short one. And I normally turn my camera off the last one as well, because I'm normally watching TV by that point. So I will pop us all on mute, but feel free to tell us things in the comments, as I mentioned, tell us what you're reading, what you're doing in the sprints, ask us any questions, let us know which is the best creature. We've got ghosts, vampires and werewolves, so which one do you prefer? There are no wrong answers, although I would argue there's one right one, but that's probably just me. So I'll just pop the timer on and I'll mute us, and then we will start our sprint. So we'll see you all on the other side. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the cat making you jump. I should have warned you about that. Happens every time.
My God, a bit of wee nearly came out. I wouldn't have been very
Sorry.
good on stream. That's
No.
all right.
Look, we wouldn't have been able to stop. You could have got away with that completely.
I could, but I've just outed myself completely, haven't I? Sorry about that.
Right, I'm just going to pop to the comments because some came up during the chat and then during the sprint even. Then we'll find out how you two have got on and how people in the comments have done. Oh, hi, Neve. She's planning to read Gallant. Oh, I love that book so much by Victoria Schwab on the train home from Edinburgh Book Fest. Oh, funny. You have to let us know what events you did. I've only been to Edinburgh Festival before, the book festival once, and I really enjoyed it. I really want to go back at some point. Hi, Caroline. So Caroline's also noticed the resurgence in vampire YA novels, which is great. Completely agree. I don't feel that I need to be the only person writing them. I just want them to be more and more of them, to be honest. Oh, Dark Lover by J.R. Ward is one of those, I think, sexy vampire books, if I'm right, for adults that I've been planning to read for a while. I have got it. People keep telling me I would like adults with the emphasis on the adult vampire books. I do need to read some more of those. Oh, hi, Han. Han's late. She's late. Oh, that sounds intriguing. I haven't heard of the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That sounds really good. You'll have to tell us a little bit more about that, Han. Oh, and that's it for the comments so far. So can you tell us, in fact, I'll just knock Han's comment off. Do you want to start us off, Alex? What did you get done during the sprint?
Okay, so I have a little bit more of some vampires going on in my very vampiric new notebook.
That's lovely.
Oh, you know, I'm so obsessed with these. They're so nice. If I ever go missing, you know, like you'll just find me like in a stationery shop somewhere, like rolling around with the pens and notebooks and things.
I thought you were going to say buried under your pile of notebooks that's collapsed on you.
Well, yeah, probably. But I've also I figured I'd move to the laptop and actually get some typing done. So I've been moving some words over, and we have 662 new words.
Wow,
so quite
that's
happy
amazing.
with that.
Yeah,
that's
really
right
good.
for me. Not too bad for old slow writer here.
There's something about a timer, isn't there, that adds a bit of a sense of urgency. I quite like it. I do it even when I'm not doing
especially when it has
sprints.
a terrifying cat on the other end of it. I wasn't expecting that.
The cat will get you if you don't get the words down.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, anybody in the comments, please let us know what you're doing. If you've been writing, doing activities, reading, we'd love to know how many pages you've read. How about you, Aislinn? Did you get plenty of reading done?
Yeah, I got a few more chapters of Therese Walker in. It's so good. It's so creepy. But I think I can only do a couple of chapters at a time because I kind of like, for somebody who writes spooky things, I kind of have a bit of a low tolerance at the moment for some reason. So there are bugs creeping into the story. And I'm just like, okay, I'll dip in, I'll dip out. But I also did some writing. I was worried about doing writing on camera because I was like, am I going to pull weird faces?
I probably
can. So just ignore me if I do. But yeah, I got a few hundred words written on the story as well.
Oh, cool. That's great. Do you find, both of you, this question for both of you really, that it is less frightening to write scary things than it is to read them? Because I think I can write scary stuff than I can read, if that makes sense. Are you the same as that, Aislinn?
Yeah, for sure. Because I guess I know it's coming from my own head. And then you forget that. You forget that somebody else has just made it up as well. Because when they do a really good job, it feels very real, right? So, you know that you've made it up, even if it feels real in your head. But if you're reading someone else's story and they slip you in properly, then
yeah, I think you're having to orchestrate everything, aren't you? The tension and the characters and the sensory things that are happening to them. How about you, Alex? Do you have a different threshold when it comes to watching, writing, reading?
Yes, very much so. So I most definitely prefer to read horror than I do to watch it. I'm sure I've told you this already, but I am a massive baby when it comes to like scary movies and things. I am 100% the person that's like hiding behind the dog. Too scared to look. But I must admit, when it comes to sort of theatre of the mind, the scarier the better, I think. And especially when I'm writing it as well, although, you know, when it comes to middle grade, like things do have to be kind of, I guess, softened a little bit, and, you know, you got to bear your audience in mind. So I always try to not go too far with it, although that's what the second draft is for that, isn't it? You know, be as scary as you want in your first draft and then just sort of rein it back in your second. So
yeah, I'm writing a first draft at the minute, and I'm on a romantic scene, and I can feel that it's not quite as good as I want it to be, and I'm just having to go, just write it. I will make it more kind of steamy in the second draft. But sometimes you just need to get those words down, don't you? And just kind of, this is the vague idea of what I want to achieve in this scene, and it will eventually become really good, hopefully. Yeah, I think the thing with me for horror, my tolerance changes as I've got older. Like, as soon as I had a baby, like, that was it for stuff with children in. Like, I can never, ever read or watch Pet Sematary again. Like, having a child has ruined that for me. Probably not that bad a thing, really, to never read that again. But anything now to do with families or young children, I'm just like, nope, I can't even bear it. If it's a little boy particularly the one in Pet Sematary particularly looks rather like my little boy, and it's just a no from me. Whereas I think maybe when I was 10, 11, 12, I was like, I will read anything. I don't care how much gore there is. I don't care who gets it in the end. Whereas I think when you're in your 30s, you become a bit more aware of like real life and mortality and stuff like that, don't you? So I'll bring the tone down a little bit with a bit of death talk. That's nice, isn't it? Right, I'm going to go to the comments and see if they can cheer us up after me bringing us down. So let's see what... Caroline has read 10% of Lisa Jewell's book, The Night She Disappeared. It's so good. I know nothing about that or Lisa Jewell. What kind of books does she write? Are they adult? Have either of you read any Lisa Jewell books?
No.
I love this. I love it when people mention stuff that I've never even heard of. I think sometimes you think when you're on like your little pocket of Twitter that you've heard of all the books, and then people come on these and tell you all new stuff. Oh, work thing. Oh, I mean, I hope it helps with the productivity, but it's never great when you think you've set some reading time aside and work things appear instead. Oh, hi, Kirsty. So, wow. Oh, I wonder, is this the vampire book I know about, Kirsty? You can give me a little wink if it is. I really like that idea if it is the one I'm thinking of. I'm jealous of all these people who can write 1,000 words in one evening. That is not me at the minute. I've got too many little kind of things pulling on my attention, usually emails that like spoil everything and distract me. Oh, Caroline, the adult thrillers. I do quite like an adult thriller. So I tend to just think I read YA, and then I read some adult thrillers and do enjoy them as well. And of course, read adult horror. That kind of goes without saying. I forgot to mention, as well as doing a bit of writing in the sprint, I've been reading The Forbidden Game, this is a really old 90s cover of it. I'm appearing as the guest on the Tales of Point Horror book club on Saturday night, and we are talking about The Forbidden Game, which is the kind of wildest, quirkiest, most outlandish point horror I think I've ever read. And I always say it's my favourite one, and then I read it and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, I do love it, but also what am I thinking? Like, I won't spoil it, but if you think of every element of sci-fi, horror, fantasy that you possibly can, like every trope, it's just kind of crammed into this book where this bunch of teenagers get sucked into a game and have to face their fears. So the things they fear are just absolutely wild. Have you read this one, Aislinn?
I haven't read that one. No, it sounds great.
It is. It's really good.
Like Jumanji style?
Yeah, it's kind of, I'd say it's Labyrinth crossed with Jumanji in a way. And it has that vibe of, there's a guy called Julian who was probably one of my first crushes, who's got this ice blonde hair and like pale skin and bright blue eyes. And he kind of sidles up Goblin King style to say creepy things and like imply he's been watching you all along, and then like slithers away again. It's great. Although now I read it as an adult, I think that's slightly problematic. And you know, like your adult head comes in like, do you really want somebody like watching your every move and stuff? But you know, as a teenager, that was very exciting. So yeah, I would recommend that if you're into point horror, or if you're thinking like that 90s horror is something you want to get into. Forbidden Game is a really good, very quirky one. Oh, please, everybody, come on, Han, write the vampire books. I don't know about this one, so please tell me all the details. I want to know all the vampire books. And let me see, Caroline, the only problem Lisa's book centers around a missing teenage couple, and she's listening to a teen thriller, which also concentrates. Oh dear. When you start reading two similar books at once, that is such a problem, isn't it? I was reading a couple of YA thrillers at the same time a couple of weeks ago, and I got really confused because I kept thinking that they were the same book. And I'm going to try not to do that anymore because I always get really mixed up. But then I do things like I've still lost. I'm reading this really good Darcy Coates book, and I've now lost it twice. I refound it very briefly. I've like misplaced it again. There's too many books in my house, I think. So yeah, I do this to myself all the time. I end up reading too many things. Ah, yeah, Kirsty's writing a really good vampire book, everybody, and we need to all be really excited about it. I want updates, Kirsty, please, when we're not on public chat. Oh, see, okay, so finding out there's a similar book, I'll tell you the story of mine. I may have mentioned this publicly or not. So the day I got my agent in, I want to say 2018, long time ago, a book was announced called The Beautiful, which was also set in New Orleans about vampires and was meant to bring vampires back. And I was like, no, that's what I wanted to do. And then I got approved for The Beautiful like a year later, and I was like, oh, it's a totally different book. And actually, people tend to tag us together, me and Renee Hardy, as saying, oh, I really like this one, so I read the other one. Or I really liked yours, so I read the other one. And they just want more vampire books, more New Orleans books. So I kind of don't think it's as much of a problem as I did when I saw that like announcement, and I just died a little bit inside. I don't worry too much now about books being too similar. I just think that you will do something totally different with it. And you can probably put a different spin on it anyway in the pitch. You can make it, you know, without saying exactly what your pitch is. If it was, you know, mine is New Orleans vampire book, mine could easily be 90s New Orleans murder mystery. And suddenly you've kind of given a different slant. It will be a different book. Has that happened to either of you before, where you've read a blurb of a book and thought, no, that's my book? Little cry. Alex, how about you? Have you been there?
You know, I haven't, and I feel very, very fortunate in order to be in that position, because I can see how it would be potentially problematic, you know, when I've had so many conversations with my publisher about, you know, hey, in terms of marketing, like, you know, oh, your book is like this, or your book is like this. Fortunately, I haven't, you know, come across one that's been exactly, if, you know, the same fit. Although I think, like you say, Amy, there's always the appetite for more, and I think you got to remember that the way that you write will be unique to you and what you are bringing, because you are putting yourself into it. There's only one you. So no matter what, it's going to be totally different. I personally cannot foresee that being a bad thing at all, and I'm very excited to know more.
Yeah.
If you ever feel, you know, that you would like to share some details down the line, when it is mega successful and it's coming out, and you know, I can't wait. I would love to be first in line to read it.
Yeah. So how about you, Aislinn? Have you had that situation, or do you just kind of, I don't know, maybe you haven't been there yet because your book isn't quite out yet, but...
Well, I haven't, like when I wrote Big Bad Me first, I wrote it years ago. I wrote it about 12 years ago. And I think it was around the same time or just after that show Wolf Blood came out.
Okay.
Which is about a girl who's, you know, born a wolf, and she's in school, and it's sort of a teeny werewolfy thing. And I saw it, and I just intentionally didn't watch it. I was like, I don't care, because as you were saying, as you guys are both saying, it's how you tell the story. I was like, I didn't want to accidentally rip off anything, so I never watched it. But I'm very aware that, like, you can't really write an original story. You know, if it's a good idea, someone else is going to think of it too. And it's just the spin that you put on it, and you know, making it your own. Absolutely.
Yeah, isn't that book that's is it called 7 Basic Plots? I may have got the number wrong, but there's a claim that there's only so many, there's like a finite number of plots, and that your book will fit in to one of those tropes, so you don't have to worry. So yeah, that was just a long-winded way of saying, Kirsty, we feel like you should write your vampire book anyway.
Yeah, we all want to read it.
Yeah, and don't fret. Oh yes, Fidding Game is great. I can't explain it without giving complete spoilers, but it's definitely worth reading. The Changeover by Margaret Knight. Oh, I've never heard of that. Is that a point horror? Is that just an adult book that we should read? As long as there's no children in it, like I've just mentioned, I'm there for anything spooky. Yeah, I think, okay, UK based, and again, own voice of disability rep, that's probably an angle straight away that you can pitch. And I know that that's something that publishers are really looking for, isn't it? And readers want to see themselves in books. So yeah, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. So I think we have exhausted the comments and we've had a little bit of chat in between. So let's dive into another sprint. I did hear a little toddler voice. I'm going to disappear for a little bit and check what is happening upstairs in my house. Kirsty said, thanks. You are very welcome. Honestly, like, as I said, I've been there and it doesn't seem to have hurt my book. In fact, if anything, it seems to have helped it that people will have an appetite for vampires and New Orleans stuff because there's other things around. I mean, I heard as well that it's going to be adapted to the Forbidden Game, and I get really excited because I think it came out in the early 90s, and since then there's been whispers of TV shows, and I get excited and then I get hurt all over again when it doesn't happen. But the 90s does seem to be quite cool in terms of like the Fear Street books being made, and I heard a whisper of Point Horrors, some of them being remade and stuff like that. So hopefully, is there anything you want to add, Alex or Aislinn, before we jump back on?
Yeah, jump back on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
well,
I'll be braced for the cat.
Yeah,
time.
okay. Yeah, sorry, anybody else who wasn't ready for the cat to meow and wake you all up.
My cat
Right in my ear.
My cat I was fine with my cat. That's so startled.
Okay, well, I think we'll do another 40 minutes and I will mute everybody. And like I said, I'll disappear briefly to see if my little boy is okay upstairs. So yeah, we'll see you all in 40 minutes. Sorry, I feel that the cat may have got you again, Alex. Your facial expression.
Yeah, I know. I was having. Yeah. It's okay though. I was defensively clenched this time.
I was just at that point where I just really got into a scene, and I just had to hastily type in capital letters the last bit that I was thinking of before I lost it. Yeah, that was quite good. I felt really productive then. I wasn't planning to write in the last sprint, but I'm quite tempted to go back to that scene now because I've nearly finished it, and the kind of sexiness that I was craving seems to be coming together a little bit now. So how did you get on, Aislinn, in that last sprint?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm not counting words at the moment because I'm just trying to get in the zone at all. But I was starting to feel really into the scene as well, and like so much so I definitely forgot the cat was coming after us.
That's a good sign. I do like these sprints. I think I might have to try and use the cat. I don't normally use the cat. I normally like just time myself if I feel I need a bit of motivation. But the cat is quite motivating, isn't it? So maybe that's a bit of a productivity secret right there. Alex, how about you? What did you get done during that scene? During that sprint even?
Yes. I decided to kind of switch tactics a little bit because I got to the end of my written notes. So I decided to put that to one side for a bit, and I've been working on a very, very secret project.
Ooh.
So I can't say too much because it's in the works with Simon & Schuster at the moment, but it is something totally, totally different to vampires. So I've been coming up with some character names in keeping with our monster theme for some very interesting little creatures. So that's what I've been doing, creating like a little encyclopedia of potential characters to inhabit this new world. So that's been really good fun. I like a good pun.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Do you enjoy that early stage of writing?
I do. I really, really do. Just when you are, just making loads of like random little notes. Like I've got some of it in my phone. I've got some of it in random notes. So it's fun to just sort of write things down as they come to you and not feel that crunch. But I'm sure that sometime soon, probably as soon as Ghost Bite Back comes out, then I'll be like, I need to write the next one like immediately.
Yeah, I'm feeling the pull of about 3 different projects at the moment, and I'm working on one and thinking I've got to get this done, but I also know that these 2 other things are hovering over me, and I'm like, I probably need to write them all, by the middle of next year, if possible. And I'm not sure I've got enough hours in the day. But how about you, Aislinn? Do you have a bit of the writing process that you really enjoy?
I love whatever part of it I'm not in, though, but I really, really I like the start, coming up with the ideas and banging it all down and getting yourself really, really excited about it. And then I'd say that momentum lasts so like a couple of weeks into the actual drafting process, and then it's like, no, I hate it. And then I'm going to be editing, because editing is, when you've got it down and you just have to carve it into an actual story shape, is how you feel when you're drafting. Then when you're editing, you're like, but it's so hard because it all has to make sense, and drafting can be whatever you want it to be. So yeah, I like the ideas, the brainstorming more than anything, because there aren't really any rules to that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How I do think the next stage of the process always keeps me going, because I'm like, oh, editing this will be really fun. And then I do the next round of edits. I'm like, oh, this is hard. Maybe the line edits will be really fun. And then I'm like, oh, finished. Oh, good. So I can do the next bit all over again. In the comments, does anybody want to tell us what you've been writing, reading, or working on? We'd love to hear it. I'd have a back and forth and like a love-hate relationship with drafting, where like at the minute I'm writing a scene I'm really enjoying and it's great, but then there'll come a point where I either don't know what's going to happen next, or I realize it's gone wrong and have to unpick something. And that is when I think drafting gets really hard, when suddenly you hit this brick wall and you're like, what now? Do I have to go through the wall? Do I have to go backwards and like fix the thing that, because I did get to a point with this manuscript, I had to leave it for a little bit for Mina too. And I've come back to it, and I was at 20,000 words, and I was like, what's happening in this book next? So I had to kind of sit and do some plotting and soul searching. I'm still not quite sure exactly what's going to happen with it, but there are just these key scenes in my mind so I'm trying to focus on them and write the waffle between them and hope that will come. Let's have a look then. So Kirsty was telling us the name. Oh, I've forgotten the name of it. Kirsty was saying a 90s book she recommends that might be a point horror. So I'm going to have to scroll back through the comments at the end of this and check what that was before I lose it forever. Han, okay, so vampire meets vampire hunter romance. Ooh, we like that already. Reluctant acquaintances, enemies to lovers, set in Scotland, debating if she wants the vampire to be from the Regency era or the 80s. What are your votes, you two? Regency or 80s vampire?
80s.
That was my instinct as well. So, Han, I'm afraid 100% of the authors on this discussion feel that it should be an 80s vampire. So, can you please get on that for us? But Regency could be interesting too. I'm already
Write them
thinking
both.
Yeah. Introduce another character for us or write a separate project. Definitely.
I'll buy them.
Yeah, we will. Just a captive audience right here. Tell us about your vampire projects, and we'll just have to wait for publishing to catch up like 3 years later. It does sound good, Kirsty. Completely agreed. I think the conclusion is that if you're thinking of a vampire thing that you want to write, there's really no kind of worry of, oh, this might have been done before, because it probably has been. Like with vampires, I'm ripping on Buffy, Interview with the Vampire, Dracula, sometimes consciously, sometimes not consciously. I think it's all seeped in to create this image of vampires in my head. So yeah, just definitely go for it. I think we've run out of comments. So what was I going to say? I've very nearly finished the Forbidden Game in the sprint before last. So I think in the next one, I'm going to try and finish that little scene that was kind of keeping my interest, read a little bit more of this. What are you two planning to do in the final one? Alex, how about you? What do you think you might do?
I'm thinking that I'm going to probably continue working on my little character roster and maybe try to clean up a bit of a synopsis that I've got going on. I think that's the plan.
Why do I hear the word synopsis and I kind of shrivel inwardly?
Yeah, I mean, again, you can't see me, but my bum is clenched right now. I'm sorry that I've talked about my bum so much. I'm not normally like this. I think it's because it's got very late in the day. Yeah, I've been asked for the S word.
I got asked one of those. My answer was, how short can it be? And my agent's answer was short. So I was like, oh, good. Okay, I can work with short. Short can be a paragraph, can't it? That's fine.
You see, I'm the other way around. I find brevity really, really difficult, like to the point where even when I'm writing an email to someone, I have to go back and like take out like 5 exclamation marks and make it like 50% shorter in order for it to make sense.
But that's if I know what the book is going to be about. And this particular book, I don't know what it's going to be about yet. So there was quite a bit of I think it's going to be this. So we'll go with that for now.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Aislinn? What are you going to do in this last sprint?
Yeah, I'm going to get back into the scene that I was writing. This is, I've written a first draft of this, but I've realized it needs to be completely different than what I've actually written. So I've been procrastinating actually getting back into it. And now that I've got this sort of momentum here, I think the sprint has been really, really, really good for that. The fact that I'm not just sprinting, but I know people are watching me as well.
Yeah, we're accountable to anybody that's watching this. And as well, I found that people tend to watch these after the fact too. So there's the live audience, and then there are people who use them just whenever it's convenient. So just think of all those people who are going to see you sitting and like looking in the air or like switching TV on. Whenever I pick my phone up, that's the thing. I like pick the phone up to check TikTok or something, and then I'm like, oh, people can see me. Put the phone down. So yeah, it is pretty motivating. Oh, we've got a little flurry of comments. Let me just go back through them. Yeah, see, Regency and 80s, I feel like there's real advantages of both of those. Han is let us convince her. Yeah, make a bunch of subtle or not subtle Lost Boys references. You can see them behind me. My husband hastily put these up for me, and we made a little Halloween scene because it's August. I feel like it's Halloween already. Yeah, please, 80s vampire references. If you'd like any help with those, Han, then I am all for it with you there. Yeah, not so subtle Lost Boys references, I think, are a good thing too. I won't say too much, but in Mina and the Slayers, I think I just really went for it with references. And I was like, how many actual whole scenes can I just drop into this book that are just fully my favourite scenes from vampire stuff? Yeah, so this edition of The Forbidden Game, I think might be an old American one. I have a bit of a thing where when I really like a book, I try and get the different covers of it. And I saw this one and I was like, that just looks so 90s. I need to have it. And I really like the kind of iconic, there's covers that have these bright blue eyes on them and just like the fringe of blonde hair, like alluding to Julian being drop dead gorgeous and deadly. So I do like those covers, but this one is just like, it's got that gorgeous 90s. I mean, look at his hair. That is a proper 90s, like Zach Morris hairdo, isn't it? So yeah, on that Zach Morris note, I think that's it for the comments for now. So are you happy to do another 40-minute sprint to you two? I was thinking half an hour, but actually I've looked at the list of stuff I want to do and I'm like, I'm feeling motivated. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. And then we'll have a little chat at the end, say goodnight. So please let us know how you're getting on in the comments. Ask us, and this is your last opportunity. You've got Alex and Aislinn here. Ask stuff about their books or about vampires, or just, use it and get on for productivity. Anything is good. Right, I'm just going to set off the kitty again. Remember, in 40 minutes it will come and terrify you. And we will see you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye. we all okay? Did the cat wake us up at that point? I know it's coming, and yet it still just gets me every time. But at some point, I'll change it for something less jumpy. But you know, where is the fun in that?
I really like the cat.
There's something
It
about
brings
it,
a
isn't
sense of danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
we all like our spookiness. Well, you know, what would it be without a good jump scare, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I just started getting distracted in that sprint and I was looking at birthday presents for friends and ended up on like Halloween websites for everything and buying stuff for myself as well. So I wasn't hugely productive in the last few minutes. How did you get on, Aislinn? What did you do during that sprint?
Kind of rewrote the stuff that I had been so happy with the last time.
Okay.
Oh, Aislinn.
I know, don't do that, right? But I did.
Sometimes you can't go on, I don't think. I'm not the person who absolutely like hammers out a first draft that I've never read before until I have to tweak and sort as I go along. Otherwise, I get really lost and end up with it not making any sense at all.
Yeah, I do think I'm overthinking it, and I know that the point of a sprint is to move forward. I just didn't. But I'm happy with what I got. And
There you go. You can be happy with what you've done.
Exactly, and it is what it is. Like the process, I think I never do this clean, perfectly plotted process of every chapter is planned in advance, and it's always just a mess of going back and forth and rewriting and piecing it all together. And it's worked twice so far, so I figure it'll hopefully work again. Oh, Alex is getting tired. We've nearly done, Alex. Don't worry.
I'm sorry. I am actually another confession time. Confession time with Foulkes. I am actually in my pajamas.
I've got pajama bottoms on, if that's any consolation.
You got to be comfy, you know. We're all here
Yeah.
to work together, so
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So, how did you get on during that sprint?
Me, yes, yeah. We've got a few more names. I'm quite happy with them. I think they're really fun. And then I was reading something that a friend of mine sent me. So it's some bits and pieces for Dungeons and Dragons. So Lucas, if you are watching this, I thought it was very good. Please do not kill me in the next game. I thought it was very good. And I very much enjoyed reading it. So yeah, that was really good and nice. You know, it's nice to mix it up a bit and do something a bit different. So I really enjoyed that.
I think as a writer, definitely different experiences. I mean, you do it for the fun of it, don't you? But stuff like that can also, I bet, prompt some really good ideas for your own writing as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I play quite a lot, and I always treat my character, you know, as though I could write a whole book about them anyway. So it's always really, really fun. I have toyed a few times with like writing my own one shot where players would encounter Lady Sieglinde, who's the villain from Rules for Vampires. I think that would be really, really cool. And fight her. I think that would be great. Maybe in the future.
With this. I was going to say, why have you not done this yet? Come on, it sounds like
I know.
I've never done it before, but I reckon I would be able to like become a novice just for the benefit of playing that. But
I feel like you'd be great. I feel like you'd both be great. I'm just trying to decide what you'd be. Pair of necromancers, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds appropriate. I was thinking I'd be something useless. It's good that you think I can do something as impressive as necromancy. Like I think I'd be the girl in the horror film who dies immediately in real life.
Do you?
Yeah. See, my friend Hannah is an author, and we did Write Mentor together, and like we both wrote similar kind of creepy vampire books. And she's like military trained and really knows about all the stuff that she is talking about, and I'm like the kind of delicate, I'm just making it up person. And I always said that if there's an apocalypse, I just need to be with Hannah as opposed to learning the skills for myself. So that's how I'll survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. If you could give me Hannah's address, I will also find Hannah in the event of an apocalypse, and we can all just stand behind her.
Yeah, please look
while
up
she
Hannah
sorts it out.
She's excellent. She's a brilliant writer. She's great on social media. She works for a really cool publisher in the US as well that are really new and sound like they're doing really interesting things, publishing women writers as well, which is awesome. So yeah, everybody look Hannah Cates up. That's a good outcome if you do nothing else from this. I'm just going to go through some comments. Oh, hi, Erica. Reading from Blood and Ash. Is this the Jennifer Armentrout book? Everybody keeps telling me that I should read that. I don't know, is it vampires? Please tell us a little bit more, Erica, if you're still around. A couple of people have said that they're going to bed. So I'll skip through a couple of those comments. Han has gone, so I'll have to say bye to Han at some point. Alicia has just joined us. Hi, Alicia. Unfortunately, for anybody who's just joined, that was the last sprint. Because as you can see, we're all starting to get... Aislinn looks wide awake, but I think that me and Alex maybe are ready for getting tucked up into bed.
We've been drinking coffee.
Oh, yes, yeah. I'm not a coffee drinker because I think I'm hyper enough as it is without adding caffeine into the mix. So I'm generally a decaf person.
Interesting you said that, Amy. It's like, well, you do all of this and you drink decaf. Maybe if I didn't drink so much coffee, I'd be more productive.
I think I just have to like force myself on. It's like toddler plus having a job plus being an author plus doing YouTube. I just have to keep on going. Otherwise, I would just like melt in a puddle and not do any of it. So it's kind of just the forging ahead thing. So I think that's about it for comments. I've kind of flicked through to the people saying that they've already gone because there's no point kind of saying bye-bye to everyone who's already left us. Just a couple of admin things. Next week, I won't be doing sprints because it's my first ever real-life launch at my local Waterstones. My first book came out during a lockdown when the bookshops were shut. So this will be a really nice experience. If you're not local to Doncaster, I'm also doing stuff at Hull Waterstones, at a Waterstones at Ashford, Kent, and a few indies and festivals and stuff. So I'll keep talking about those on social media if anybody wants to come and say hi. And also Beth from Books Nest is doing my virtual launch next Tuesday on her channel. I think it's Tuesday, the 30th, whenever that is. That's when we're doing it. Because I thought it'd be nice to still do a virtual launch because there are people who obviously can't attend Doncaster just at the 6 o'clock on a Thursday night. Caroline said good night, AAA. I feel like from this moment forth, that is what we should be known as. I didn't even realise that. Thank you, Caroline. You've coined a phrase now that in all the DM groups, that is how we shall be known.
Yes.
So thank you so much, you two. I knew I would have a really great time talking to you. I hope you'll come back and we haven't put you off reading sprints and writing sprints after this first experience. Do you feel, I'll start with you, Aislinn, was it quite a productive thing? Did you enjoy your first on-screen experience?
Yeah, it really was. And I was less self-conscious than I thought I would be while I was writing, because I tend to pull funny faces when I write. I do. And even when I think about writing, I've gotten in trouble with the moms from school, thinking I'm glaring at them because I'm thinking about my story as a case. But yeah, I was able to let go of that and just write and really enjoy it. So thank you so much for having me on, Amy.
Oh, you're so welcome. And everybody remember, Aislinn's book is coming out in October, Big Bad Me, and Alex's book is coming out, the Second Rules for Vampires book, which is just there in case you've forgotten. There it is. Look at it. And that is coming out towards the end. What date is it in September? I've instantly forgotten, even though you told us.
No, it is the 29th of September. You can find it. This is middle grade. I know that a lot of the lovely readers and writers in chat have been more into YA. But if you do happen to take a chance on this, definitely let me know. You can find me on Twitter. I'm always really into talking with other cool authors and booksellers. It makes me feel like I'm sat at the back of the bus with the cool kids. So if you want to be, super cool together, then I would love that. That would be great.
And can I just add that it is terrifying as well? It may be middle grade, but I was still like jumping in all the right places and stuff. I think that middle grade is definitely exceptionally scary.
Thank you very much. I aim to please.
Oh, From Blood and Ash does have vampires, so I'm instantly like 100% more interested in that. If you just tell me vampires are in it, I want it. Thank you, Kirsty. I hope it will go well. I have done some real life events, but I've been more about the virtual events. So it'll be interesting to see if I can speak to real audiences of people. I can hear a toddler upstairs, so I'm going to wrap it up now. But thank you again for joining me, you two. You can find all of us on the usual places, just search your social media and you'll probably find us. I think we're all on Twitter. Aislinn and I are on TikTok as well, kind of venturing into those dark and mysterious waters. I'm just getting the hang of it. But yeah, thank you so much everybody for coming. If there are any more comments, I will pick those up later. And yeah, feel free to chat to all of us on social media. So I will sign off now. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.